All right, hey guys, we're back for the next step of this video. What we've been doing is drawing some of our African mask designs. Hopefully you've had some fun with that. You've looked at some examples, really focusing on the shapes and the patterns, the designs, kind of decorating it, really pulling in some of those elements of Picasso and Cubism with some of those asymmetrical looking facial features. Once you have a handful, hopefully you've done a couple different layers, kind of like when we're in class and we fold up the paper so we can have multiple ideas drawn out. Hopefully you have done that. You've created some multiple layers so that you can go through and try different mask designs. So here's a handful that I've done. Just some different ones. Some are a little goofy, some are a little bit more work. That's just kind of the nature of it. So once you kind of have an idea of maybe one or two that you're really enjoying and you want to take and do for the final, you are officially ready for the background. We're not going to really do anything where it says background color. That's kind of just the basic format of the canvas. We're going to actually create a background. So if you click down on the bottom layer and then you add a new layer, and remember this is up in the squares, now I have this blank layer. I'm gonna actually click and drag it to the layer right above the background. So that means it is the farthest back, okay? And on that layer, we're gonna create some color. So if we were in school, we would be doing this on the watercolored background that we had made. But since we're doing it on the iPad, we can actually have some fun. We can actually do some similar techniques to watercolors using Procreate. So I'm actually gonna just kind of choose my color scheme, some colors that blend nicely together. I'm just gonna do maybe some yellows into orange and red. So I'm gonna start with the yellow. I'm gonna drag and select kind of like this bright yellow up here. And then for the brush, this is where you can have some fun. You can do maybe something in the painting. You can go into artistic and use some of those brushes. Down here where it says water, there's some nice washes of color. That would be kind of like a watercolor type look. I'm actually gonna do, this wet sponge one. And then over here, I'm gonna let it kind of be a pretty decent sized brush. And I'm gonna paint that yellow, maybe. I'm just maybe a little smaller. Paint that yellow in, and then I'm gonna switch to the next color. I'm just gonna drag and select more of a orangish yellow, right? I'm gonna paint some of that orange in. And again, you can do this with any of those brushes. You just wanna kind of lay in a base background color. You don't wanna do anything too specific because that's gonna compete with the design that you've done with the black pen. So you wanna just do something that's gonna just accentuate it in the background. So I'm just kind of dragging through these colors, slowly getting to the yellow or the oranges and the reds up top. And I've just kind of like laid in this background, okay? Right now it's very blended. If I wanna kind of make it a little bit more smudgy, I can actually use this smudgy tool. And again, you can choose any of those brushes to smudge with. I'm gonna go back down here to organic. Nope, actually the water. And I'm gonna do wash. And I think that's gonna kind of let me smudge like so it'll look like watercolor. So I'm gonna make it about that size. And I'm just gonna kind of like let it kind of smudge. It's not gonna do too much actually. It's just gonna kind of help blend it together. And you can kind of play around with that. And if I want to add a little bit more, I can maybe come in, maybe I want to select this yellow again, okay? And I'm going to make it a little bit brighter. Add a little bit more yellow in there. See how it kind of makes it a little bit more of that golden yellow. And then I'm going to kind of like that, let that smudge together. And again, you're just creating a background color. And that's going to just kind of accentuate the cool sculpture that you did. Now, if you want to have some fun, and experiment. Over here on the wand tool, you can come to liquify is a cool one, and you can kind of choose some different options. Right now it's on twirl right. So when I click, it's going to kind of twist the color into a twirl pattern. And it might make almost like this tie-dye kind of look. So that's kind of cool. You can kind of play around with that. You can change the brush size to make like a smaller twirl. And that's a fun thing that you can kind of experiment with the background too. But again, as we look at it, okay, as we look at it, it's not taking away from the black pen part. It's just that background color, okay? So once you play around with that, the cool part is it's on its own layer. So if you want, you can select your different drawings and see which one you like best. And technically, you could add different layers for the background color, and you could turn those off and on and try out different color schemes too. I have this big blank area down here. Now that my drawing's off, I can kind of see that. So I'm actually gonna come down here and twirl this color down here a little bit. Wow, that looks pretty cool. Okay, when you are finished, let's say I want to do this one for my final. I'm going to go up here to the wrench, and I'm going to go where it says share, and I want to share it as a JPEG. And that's essentially just an image file. And then I'm just gonna tell it to save image. And that's basically just gonna save it to my camera roll. And then once it's on my camera roll, that's when I can go into Schoology and I can go to the assignment and I can post it as an image file to that assignment. That way I can get on and see what you've done, okay? And see the awesomeness that you have created. Cool? So that's the next step. Have some fun with that, play around with the backgrounds, and save that image as a JPEG and share it with me, submit it to the assignment. That way I can see them. And stay tuned for the next project that we're gonna do. So have fun, guys. All right.